Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Last summer I visited Puy du Fou and I wanted to talk about one of the shows I saw at the park. For those who don't know, Puy du Fou is a French theme park without any rides. Instead of rides, there are shows to watch and some walkthrough attractions. The shows each have a different theme and take place during a different historic time period. Got your Vikings, Jeanne of Arc, and of course the topic of today's video, Musketeers. Anyway, I made this video because I really want to talk about a certain Puy du Fou show, Musketeers de Richelieu. And I hope I pronounced that right, because I don't speak French. Which I'll get back to in a minute. Now, prior to seeing the show, my knowledge on Musketeers was limited. I knew of the book written by Alexandre Dumas, which is on my to-be-read list, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And aside from that book, I've watched several movies depicting musketeers from France. Movies such as The Three Musketeers from 2011, or Mickey, Donald and Goofy, The Three Musketeers, The Man in the Iron Mask, and, of course, the cinematic masterpiece that is Barbie and the Three Musketeers. Before I get into talking about the show, I thought I could talk about, the queue line and the whole theater where the show takes place, because that too added very much to the experience. Now, each show at Puy du Fou has its own theater, and like any other theme park, there are queue lines. And I'm actually thinking of making a separate video on how to plan for a day at Puy du Fou, including queue lines and how the app works. But anyway, back to the theater. The queue line at the theater of Musketeers de Richelieu is outside, and you basically are waiting in these beautiful gardens with white paths and trimmed hedges and a fountain. On the inside, the theater just oozes the vibe as if you're attending the opera and are an important, esteemed guest on the biggest event of the year. That's how it feels. And really, the only way to describe the stage and the stands, and as you make your way into the theatre, is just grand. It really sells the feeling of exclusivity and prestigiousness. Before the show started, there was a short pre-show with two guards who were searching for someone, I believe. The pre-show was entertaining on its own, and it killed the time just fine before the actual show started. Now, I promise I'll get into the actual show soon, but before that I really wanted to touch upon something that I think must be mentioned when talking about Puy du Fou and the way that they provide non-French speaking guests with translations. As I already mentioned, I don't speak French, only a tiny bit. I anticipated that I would be watching shows at Puy du Fou, a French theme park, in the French language. And I was fine with that. I mean, even if I wouldn't understand anything, the shows on its own would still be a spectacle, I assumed. And trust me, they are a spectacle. So when I found out that there was actually a feature in the Puy du Fou app called Live Audio, and I just really want to say that I appreciate what Puy du Fou does, because this makes me able to still understand the show in my own language, and I appreciate the effort that they put into that. And the translations were fine, and the timing on it was fine as well. So yeah, I think it works fairly well, and I'm just already rambling about it, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a separate video on this topic soon, because there's so much still to talk about when it comes to this feature for live audio. But basically all you need to know for now is that it works fairly well, that it made it very easy for me to understand the shows and their stories, and therefore I did not really miss out on anything. Anyway, back to the actual show part. As the show starts, a man dressed in, gold-coloured clothes monologues for a bit, but I can't really remember what he said, but he did introduce the nobility of Puy du Fou and the cardinal, I believe that it was. Those people come up on the stage and walk up a staircase, and I was seated actually very close to the staircase, so I saw them all coming up, which was pretty cool. And then the curtains open, and the stage that is presented to you kind of looks like a mansion, or at least that's what I thought it looked like. I don't know if it looks to other people like a mansion, but I thought, a house, a mansion, something like that. Two actors are standing on top of a platform that descends into place on like the top floor of the mansion decor set, which honestly, very cool. There's just so much happening in the show that I can't hardly remember everything. But honestly, I just want to say I loved how the house setup was used during the show, because the action happening on those stairs is amazing. I believe there were something like barrels rolling down, or people just jumping off of the staircase into closets and coming out on the other side. That was pretty awesome. And someone got slammed into this long table. There was sword fighting, and I mean, come on, it's sword fighting. What's not to love about performance sword fighting? I just love performance sword fighting like that. And when the whole like mansion staircase part of the show was done, the show kind of calms down, it becomes darker. I believe it was like black light, and there's these horses. They run around. That was cool. And then slowly the floor of the stage starts flooding, literally flooding with water. And that makes for such a nice effect when, the people start dancing later on. But yeah, and oh my god, the backdrop, like I guess you call it the backdrop, like the decor at the back. Oh my god, the background. During the water dance part of the show with like all the water on stage, there's this spectacular background, and it kind of looks as if it was like a royal palace court. Like it really matches the vibe that you got outside of the theater with the gardens. The water jets spring from the side onto stage. Just it kind of makes the whole thing look like a giant fountain, which once again matches very well with the garden outside. And well, obviously all of that is happening while still remaining spectacular, obviously. The music during the dance sequence was great. The dancing and the music just went really well together. I mean, obviously it's choreographed to the music, I assume, or vice versa, but it was just very entertaining. I can't really say anything else. It was just, you were sitting there, you were watching it, and that's all. Just no thoughts, just watching. At first, when I heard that there was going to be dancing in the show, like I'm not opposed to dancing or anything, but I just thought, like, I'm not sure how it's going to match with the whole Musketeer-esque part of the show, but it actually worked wonderfully well. As I said, the music with the dancing and then the water coming in, it made the whole thing look amazing and truly lovely to see. And I forgot to mention the characters in the storyline all the way through this video, but honestly, I feel like that if there's anything of this show that I thought was kind of lacking, or not really lacking, just a bit more complex, it would be the story. I mean, I understood it fine, you can see what's happening on stage, and its purpose is to entertain you, right? It's a theme park with shows. You go there to be entertained, you go there to watch stuff. But when you're trying to tell a story, characters and storyline, it is just very important. Now, the characters, I wouldn't say were an issue. I mean, you got the Cardinal, he said something, but at one point there was quite a lot of dialogue back and forth between the Cardinal and, like, the main character that, I mean, I understood it fine because it was Dutch, but I just can't actually remember what was being said. I believe the main character said something like he wasn't a musketeer and something else. I honestly, it sucks that I don't remember because I really want to talk about it. I did read beforehand in the app, the synopsis, the premise, like what's going on in the show. Like the female lead, the main character's love interest, she, I believe, was a Spanish dancer and wanted to become like an actress, I think. And something went wrong then, and she got taken away. And then the main character started fighting the bad guys. That's the whole stunt stuff. Like I said, sword fighting and all of that stuff included. And I believe then the Musketeers were sent to help. And then the Cardinal and the main character, like, they said something to each other. Which was I don't remember exactly what they said, but they had some talk about where he's from, I think. it was and like what his name was, and he said that he didn't have a name, I believe. Like, it's a bit vague, but I do remember like the broad lines of what the show is to be about. Also, completely forgot to mention it, but there was this really great stunt that the main character had, swinging down from this balcony all the way down to the floor. He just swung down there.
Venez sur ce balcon, venez lécher mes pattes.
Il ne lui manque plus qu'une jupe culotte. Ce n'est pas un vrai homme.
Non, je suis une motte.
Tu n'as rien pour te battre.
Non, non, pas les qualités, mais j'ai juste une épée.
Alors, viens nous chercher.
I was so surprised. It looked really cool, and it completely blew me away. Amazing. As I said, I tried paying attention to the story as the whole show went on, but there's just so much to watch, so much going on. With Pretty Foo, if you're going there one day, you want to see as much shows as possible, so going to see the Musketeer show again wasn't really an option for me. But if I'm visiting Pretty Foo again, I'm definitely going to see it again, because first of all, it's an amazing show. Second of all, I just need to know more about the story, because I am still very curious. In conclusion, I thought the show was just a full-on spectacle. Like, there wasn't really any moment where I thought, oh, is that it? I mean, I was fairly surprised when the whole thing just suddenly became dancing and not musketeering. It didn't really matter because it matched the theme, I guess. Like, it was a combination of musketeer stuff and Spanish dancing. It's not something I thought would work well. I don't know why I thought that, but it worked well. So, yes, it was not what I expected, but like in a good way, in a very, very good way. Obviously, I expected there to be musketeers because the show is titled Musketeer de Richelieu. The stunts and the dancing wasn't completely expected, but very, very welcome addition. Yeah. I don't know what I would rate it, but I definitely would recommend it. It's great. And I had so much fun seeing it, and the whole day at Pretty Foo, by the way, was amazing. And I'm definitely will be making more videos about Pretty Foo, because this park is great. The shows are fun, and it's not just shows, there are walkthroughs, and I will be making a video about those. I definitely will. Anyways, that's all I got for right now. There's probably a lot of stuff I forgot to mention, but you know, it's getting late and I gotta wrap up this recording. So, nice day, and I will see you in a next video. Bye-bye.